I don't think any of us know what we're capable of. We certainly didn't know we were capable of having 2 individuals with autism. You just gotta try. You just gotta try, and the more that you talk and the more you speak about your stories, how can anybody not want to help you? Our journey began when my middle son, who is now 28 years old, was diagnosed at the age of 2. Like all parents who get the diagnosis, we were worried about how do we help him, where can we go. I learned about a walk. The mission behind the walk was to raise awareness and to also raise funds. So we decided to write a letter to all of our friends and family and their friends and family. And I think we sent about 400 letters out, and the response we got back was beyond overwhelming. We got letters from people thanking us for letting them be a part of our journey. So there began our fundraising journey. I have an older son, Corey. He's only 1 year older than Jamie. As much as we wanted to shelter him from some of what we were going through ourselves as new parents, Corey grew and learned from everything he witnessed that we did. You never realize the impact that you have on anybody, let alone your other children.
My bond with my siblings is that I'm kind of like their built-in best friend, but also like a third parent at the same time. I'm always there for them. I'm always there to support and be an extra set of hands for my parents whenever they are down, or they got to play kind of zone coverage on one kid and I got to go play man on the other. But I was always surrounded by fundraising growing up, finding any way to participate. Something that was just instilled in me at a young age is I want to continue to give back and support them so that they can excel within the means that they can.
In terms of my relationship with my cousins, want to obviously give back and do as much as we can for them, and want to make sure that we're supporting Corey, supporting Jamie and Emily now and for years to come, which was something that Debbie and Joel really instilled in us, as well as our own parents instilled in us. It's just always been in our DNA. I remember going as a 13-year-old to the Autism Speaks walks.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah, the walks were the first thing I got.
I think I have a whole drawer of dedicated t-shirts.
After we did the walk for a couple of years, our son needed help. He needed to get an education. I started to look into what was available, which there was not very much. So once I found a school, I was extremely ecstatic. We walked in the doors. It was definitely the right place for our son to live and learn and thrive. But I quickly found out it needed help. While we were on the board at that school, a young man walked into our meeting and he said, I want to do something and I want to give back to the community and I want it to be for your school. We all said, wow, that's wonderful. Let him run a fundraiser and see what he could do. Well, we went to that first fundraiser and there were over 300 participants and he raised over $100,000. I still get emotional thinking about it because we walked in that gym, it was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and it blew us away what one person could do, what a difference they could make for so many people and people they didn't even know. And I said, you know what, we're in. A few years later, Emily came along. And she was diagnosed with autism when she was 15 months old. And Emily's needs were not the same as Jamie's needs. And what we found is that when we did the research and looked for programming, there was not much out there for her, for somebody like her.
Initially, when Emily was finishing school, she was concerned. We were concerned about what she was going to do for the next 40 or 50 years, but she was concerned because school was a safety net for her. It's something she was used to doing. She loved the teachers, she loved the learning, and taking that away from her only gave her a sense of what's next. I don't know what's going to be. I'm a little bit nervous.
Growing up with Jamie and Emily, they were both relatively similar in age to me. I had never really thought about what happens after they leave the school system, so it's been really exciting to see organizations like the Nicholas Center really help and figure out what they do post the school system. So I think these organizations are so critical to figuring out how they can live a fulfilling and meaningful life.
The Nicholas Center is unique in a lot of ways, one of which is it's not a program you go to and you're doing the same thing every minute, every day, which is how most programs are. So the fact that it's so diverse and so many different opportunities and activities, you can't find that anywhere else. And I also think that the staff here
yes, the staff.
is so...
Emily loves everybody here.
She doesn't even realize, when you go to work and you enjoy what you're doing, that's half the battle. And I think the kids really enjoy what they're doing, and it's because of the incredible staff.
Coming here, getting to know the people, falling in love with the teachers, doing things she enjoys. It used to be a little bit of got to push her out the door. Now she goes flying out the door. And she enjoys being here every day.
Well, there are some certain classes I like. I like the media lab, I like art class, and I like going to the chocolate lab.
The chocolate lab, it's a very sacred place, the kitchen. All of them go off into their own little space, and whatever they're dipping or drizzling, putting sprinkles on, they are all so intensely involved because it's art. The whole space has become so special. I have watched Emily just grow and mature, and her work is the pride you could see. She's just got so much like beautiful stuff in her head, and she is a very talented artist.
I sometimes make chocolate covered Leonard Dunes or graham crackers or pretzels. It makes me feel good.
One of the greatest challenges that we have as parents, even as organizations, is how can we prepare for the future for our kids? How are we going to sustain the future of our programs of support for the people that we love and care about? There is often an unspoken uneasiness that I'm sure the siblings bear and feel. They grew up in homes where they're watching their parents help their brother or sister and championing services for them in school districts, just like superheroes. And I could imagine how overwhelming that must be to a sibling to think, I can't do that. I can't do what my mom or my dad did for my brother or sister.
You hear a lot of stories of kids that have siblings with autism that kind of go a different direction and don't give back or kind of just try and stay away from it because it's sensitive and it's emotional for them. But I've tried to find a way to really lean in and support and take advantage of learning from them as much as I can.
Corey and my nephews came to us and said, we've watched you and Joel, we've seen what you've done, we know there's more to be done. How can we get involved?
I teamed up with my two cousins here to create a charity event that was, easy, turnkey, and fun for, our friends to engage with and be a part of. And, our friends are always going out on Saturdays to bars to watch college football. And, we have a little family rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State that we thought it was a good way to bring everyone together in a unique way to raise money and give back to the community.
And when I think about the Tailgate for Autism, I think it's our third year doing it now, it'll be our fourth year. I think of it as more of like a foundation where we'll be able to build on this for years to come. And so wherever we end up all, living long term, we can have an event that we bring friends and family to over time. And again, even, as we get older, our friends and their friends' kids eventually, won't be such a hard sell to get them to watch college football.
What comes out of working together around something like this, obviously with the camaraderie of the bond that we all have is great, but it helps take pressure off from a responsibility standpoint, to be able to team up together and, kind of co-produce, something like this, I think is incredibly helpful. And then hopefully allows us to continue to scale it year over year because we're learning, we actually do take notes after about what worked well, what didn't, and kind of giving each other pointers on how we can be better, in the next go around and kind of continue to grow it. But it's fun.
What's so beautiful about what we're seeing in the Levine family is that they came into their own and they, on their own, without any encouragement from the families, they figured out a way how they can contribute. And I think that is really so valuable, so important. And that's really what makes it so much more meaningful. And I think that's really important, that we allow our next generation to do it their way, to do it the way that is meaningful to them.
The best part about it is we didn't go to them and ask them to do anything.
Right.
They just said this is what they want to do. And one day when we're not here anymore, knowing that Corey will be here, Rachel and Eric will be here, gives us, a level of comfort.
I'm very lucky to have Corey as my brother, and and Eric and Mitchell as my 2 cousins.
To our Aunt Debbie and Uncle Joel.
And Mom and Dad.
And Mom and Dad. Well, I was gonna pass it. The love that they have for all 3 of their children is the most inspiring and infectious and contagious love you could have for anyone. And the way that they have not only handled adversity, but turned that into something that is unbelievably inspiring and uplifting and genuinely impacts lives well beyond their own family is incredibly inspirational. I think we've always looked up to them and watch what they handle with such grace, and then realize that we should try and emulate that in all aspects of our own life. So thank you guys for everything you do.
Thank you. You know, you tried to shield me from it at a young age, but I think you embraced it and, you know, brought me in to have it impact my life in a positive way. You know, I know it's not been easy on you. I'm not the best communicator in terms of my emotions and showing my gratitude to you, but I truly do mean it every single day.
You know, you guys make it very easy for us to want to do good for you and your family. I hope that, you know, what we do is just helps out in any small way.
The only thing I'll add is how thankful Debbie and I are that the Nicholas Center exists. That Emily has a place to go every day. We brought our circle in to support it, and I would love people to come here and see the store. I think they'll all be shocked at what they see.
One of the most important things is to not have it be a mystery. Like, what are these walls? What are we doing in this place? But to let them come in and see.
For you to come in there and be transformed into this magical place, you are making a difference.
Start small. We ran a couple of very large events. We had the ability to do it. Not everybody does, but start small. And if you can't raise money, volunteer your time. A lot of ways you can help.
For younger donors or people who are looking to get involved in something, not everything has to be like a big black tie gala. Younger people are socially interconnected. It's really easy to go one to many. And so you can put, you know, things that may not seem like a big deal to you that do end up making, you know, a real difference to an organization like this, and really don't require that much effort. And so that, I think, is something that is hopefully scalable for a younger donation audience as well.
Tell your family, your friends, your coworkers, let them know about what's going on here. Send them a few cookies, bring a few cookies to your next dinner with your friends, bring cookies to your house when you have a barbecue, and tell people who made them.
I think you'd be surprised at how many people want to help or have an interest in helping.
I think, you know, there's easy ways to get involved and easy ways to help the agency grow. And I wish that this Nicholas Center, I know it's growing and growing, but I hope that it grows even further, because there's so many more people that would benefit from being here.
And why are we growing? And why are we so successful? Because we have parents like the Levines. Because we have people like Debbie and Joel.